Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bar Shem, Yahweh Shai. Double wonders unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah from the GMS London camp. And this video is news and prophecy surrounding the terrorist attack that happened in Parsons Green, okay, in London, West London. And I'm going to get into this article, okay, on the Daily Mail Online. Soldiers drafted in an extra armed police on the streets as Theresa May raises terror level to critical after ISIS claimed tube bucket bomb attack was carried out by a cell of several jihadis. Okay, now this is I believe this is a false flag. This is I don't know how the MI5 could allow something like this little bucket bomb to go off and then allow some lady to record on her mobile phone the bomb alight, okay? And police casually tell her to move back away from the bomb, okay? Now, even it said, Scotland Yard has identified a suspect behind a rush hour blast on a district line train at Parsons Green. Manhunt underway for bomber amid fears he may have left other devices and could be armed with knives. Okay, so they always make it out that this guy is on the run, so they have to further push, that the fear mongering amongst the people. Okay, and even now they keep pushing this thing with knives. Okay, and that's really so they can, you had the acid attacks for a moment in the summer in East London, heavily going on, and then you had a knife attacks as well. And recently you've had a lot this year, a lot of terrorists, so-called terrorists with knives, man. So and then you even get these niggas, these drug dealers and whatnot, these gang members where they have knives as well, brandishing knives, and they're getting basically they're getting charged underneath the law of terrorism for possession of knives. Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're trying to they're really trying to extend the law to make everyone a terrorist. Okay, that's the reason why they're doing these things they're presently doing now, covering the things of the knives, the acid attacks, and also these terrorists basically running amok, and they were unable to stop them even though they were on their radar, but it's because they don't have the rights to basically arrest someone that they determine a terrorist before they do a crime. Okay, so that's basically what's gonna happen when they, when this runs its course, is that they're gonna be allowed to call anyone that they believe has the potential to be a terrorist to be arrested and and basically be thrown under the bus. Okay, with new laws being placed, pre-crime, so to speak. So basically, really, that goes into the different lists that they have, where they can basically determine who's fit to work as a slave within their new world order and who's not adequate for that system, and they can be killed or thrown in jail or whatever they may decide to do with them, but mainly to kill in, going by the Georgia Guidestones, the number one commandment being that they want 500 million people on the earth. Okay, in their mind, for the reason that they believe to harmonize, for the earth to be in perfect harmony. They only want 500 million people on earth. All right. Now, okay. Armed police would have flooded London streets as a terror threat level was raised to critical amid fears the Parsons Green bomber could strike again. Theresa May announced tonight the introduction of Operation Tempora will see soldiers replacing police at key sites, nuclear power plants, to free up extra armed officers for regular patrols. Okay, so they basically that's really delving into the militarization of the police. Okay, now just go into Operation Tempora. Okay. Now this word temper, bear with me. This word temper, okay, basically go means mix. Okay. So you see it temporary. Okay, tempera, to temper and moderate. Bring something into required condition and by bringing something, and that something being a new world order, into a required condition by mixing it with something else. Okay, what they mixing, the thing that they require is their new world order, and what they mixing it with, this present society. That's why they're bringing soldiers out to be at key places to militarize the police, basically to bring in a totalitarian state. Okay, basically, like 1984. Okay, the movie 1984. That's how they're tempering the people. They're readying them. So this whole operation, that's the course of it, to mix the police and the troops to basically ready the people for a new world order. So this is Operation Tempera, is a British government plan to deploy troops to support police officers in key locations following a major terrorist attack. So that's a mix of what? Troops and support police officers. Okay, and the troops are taking over the key locations, and the police on the less worrisome places. Okay, but eventually they're gonna basically branch out it to to basically make it where the police will be militarized anyway, and that's something that they're in the process of doing, because they keep training more and more armed police officers. Okay, that basically they ride around the town, the city, on all-terrain dirt bikes, motorcycles, brandishing all kinds of firearms, and being and have special rights, to basically take out the people that they deem terrorists. Okay, the plan provides for up to 5,100 service personnel from all three services to be deployed to augment armed police officers engaged in protective security duties. Okay, so they have the armed police officers doing higher ranking things underneath the armed forces, but then the regular police are out there as well. According to the government sources cited by the Daily Telegraph, it would only be triggered following a Cobra meeting. Okay, and a Cobra is what? A snake. That old serpent, as it tells you in Revelations. So it shows you that this system is really channeling that spirit from the garden, man. Being that serpent that was more subtle than any creature. And this is showing Esau showing his subtlety via what? This Cobra meeting that basically allows these people to, operate towards a new world order. The plan was put in place following the January 2015 Ile-de-France attacks in France. It is intended to be kept secret. Okay, so they basically did that. This whole operation was done off the strength of a terrorist attack in another land. Okay, showing you nothing needs to happen on this soil for things to happen, but was accidentally disclosed in July 2015 after being inadvertently uploaded to a website of the National Police Chiefs Council. But this part of Esau's, basically Esau, basically allows the people to know what it is, so they have no excuse when it gets implemented in full effect. Okay, that's why it was released, man. Come on, all the different things that they hide in front of the people, and that managed to slip out. Notice that they don't have a problem with people knowing now, do they? It was said to have been contentious with the army leadership due to the concerns about it causing overstretched morale problems, and difficulties with deciding when to end the operation. Okay, there's going to be no difficulty in ending it, because it's going to be implemented fully. Okay, the British Armed Forces have previously deployed to support police most notably during the troubles of Northern Ireland when 21,000 troops were deployed to assist the Royal Ulster Constabulary in Operation Banner. In 2003, Tony Blair's government temporarily deployed 450 troops in Heathrow Airport and other London locations during the period of heightened terrorist threat. Okay, other European countries have also deployed troops to guard against terrorist threats in cities. France has deployed over 10,000 troops under Operation Sentinel or Sentinel, and Sentinel means watchman. Okay. Since the January 2015 attacks in Paris region, Italy also has deployed. So that's the point. Okay. The point is that Operation Tempora, which is not no presently is not in effect because the terrorist level got played down. Okay, but let me just go through this quickly. Okay. Okay, let me jump to here. Police identified a suspected terrorist using CCTV footage, but the investigation has been overshadowed by extraordinary diplomatic row triggered by Donald Trump. The US president tweeted just hours after the rush hour blast that police had the attacker in their sights and should have been more proactive in catching the loser. Okay, so he's basically gunning for what was said earlier, the fact that they want to, if they can identify the potential of a terrorist, they basically should be able to lock you away without you actually having to do something. Okay. Scotland Yard hit back and said Mr. Trump's comments were pure speculation while senior officers refused to name the suspect. The president later rolled back on his controversial comments by posting another tweet saying our hearts and prayers go out to the people of London. But the point is he put the idea out there. That's the point. The idea is in the mind of the people and has already influenced them to think like that. So you're going to have people crying the same things that Donald Trump said. And you have all these bonehead people in America anyway, and these bonehead people over here, they basically have been eating up his rhetoric, okay? So the fact that he said it is you're just gonna have these parrots that are basically gonna repeat the same rhetoric, and then the government's gonna act upon it and do their plan, what they want to do, okay? All right. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. Okay. So now this is today is the 18th, and this article came out today. Right, so this is where we are as it stands today. Plainclothes SAS troops deployed on London Underground with shoot to kill orders. Okay, armed SAS troops are being deployed on the London Underground with orders to shoot to kill terrorists following the Parsons Green attack, according to the reports. Now, shoot to kill terrorists. How do you what allows them to identify terrorists? That's the key question. All right. What identifiable things, aspects of a person, the characteristics of a terrorist, allow you to identify the terrorist for you to shoot to kill them. All right. Members of the Special Air Service and Special Reconnaissance Regiment have been told to target terrorists on trains, buses, and planes. Some will patrol London's busy tube network in pairs disguised as civilian couples. They will be of Glock 9mm semi-automatic pistols so they can take down gunmen and suicide bombers. The Daily Star reports. A source told the newspaper they are trained in rapid-fire techniques, adding the task force is comprised of some of the most experienced special forces personnel in the army. Okay, but yeah, they have the abilities to kill people, but do they have the ability? What? How are they going to identify these people? The unit is compromised is comprised of some of both male and female personnel from Special Reconnaissance Regiment who are trained killers and can pose as couples while traveling on public transport. The paper also reports that trained personnel have been given soft nosed bullets to limit the risk of other passengers who are traveling on public transport. Okay? Now, if you notice, nothing talking about to identify how people are terrorists. Okay? So this is really already showing you that this isn't full of they move closer and closer to their agenda because in that whole they didn't have to tell you how they're gonna identify terrorists, okay? And the UK terror threat level just went down from severe, okay, down from critical down to severe. Okay, so critical, an attack is expected imminently. All right. Response: maximum protective security measures to meet specific threats and to minimize vulnerability and risk. Critical may also be used if a nuclear attack is expected. Okay, and what did we see off the back of that? Operation Tempora introduced, where basically you had army personnel at key places, okay, protecting, the royal family, government politicians, okay, and you had armed police at the lower level places below those army personnel. Then you had regular police out here in force working the beat. All right, now this is severe. An attack is highly likely. Additional and sustainable protective security measures reflecting the broad nature of the threat combined with specific business and geographical vulnerabilities and judgments on acceptable risk. Now basically if we understand that we're severe, SAS weren't patrolling when we was at critical. They're now patrolling at this present time, undercover, with the ability, the right to shoot to kill based upon determining someone as a terrorist. Now, what you have to remember is what happened to the Brazilian um, guy that got shot on the train. I can't remember his name, man. Forgive me. Uh, um, he was determined to be a terrorist. It allowed him to ride on a bus, leave his house, ride on a bus, get onto the London Underground, and then shot him on in front of passengers, okay, on the train. And it turned out he was just a regular citizen. All right. So now these people have the same. They have the same. The point being of what I'm saying is that they have basically already taken away some of your rights, man. This shows you that we're getting closer to that time. That's the point. All right. Now you have SAS, fucking armed officers patrolling the underground, ready to shoot to kill to determine anyone as a terrorist. Okay, and they can be justified. All right, because they just determined according to their skill set, you look like a terrorist, and it's good to go. Now let's take this example. Jean Charles de Silva, Eden Menezes, okay, was a Brazilian killed by the of the London Metropolitan Police Service at Stockwell Station, South London, on the London Underground after he was wrongly deemed to be one of the fugitives involved in the previous day's failed bombing attempts. Okay, so he was deemed a terrorist, but then you see what they could say. They could say, well, the Met Police ain't trained on the level of the SAS, so they will be more justified in releasing someone of a higher skill set. Okay, which basically is still just impeachment on your rights, man. These events took place 2 weeks after the London bombings and this is 2 weeks after the 7/7 bombings. Okay, in 2005, in which 52 people were killed. All right, so he got shot. He got his head blown off on the train, man, because they deemed him. They thought he was a terrorist. Mind you, he was able to ride the bus before that actually happened. Okay, so you know, um, yeah, that's more or less the point. Okay, so let me grab these scriptures. Okay, this is Revelations 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou. Let me go 3:10 at first, actually. Okay, Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And that's where we're speedily heading to, man. You see that repetitively. Let's not forget that in cahoots with this terrorist attack that happened, we have the 3,000 people already using the RFID chip in Sweden, and Sweden is the model for the rest of the world. Okay, they're basically ahead of the curve because they experimented with Sweden. That's why they said 1%, almost not even nearly 1% of transactions carried out in Sweden are done by cash. Okay, or it may have been just below 20%. I can't recall it precisely, but they're heavily using um, they're heavily pushing a cashless society, and the reason why that's happening over there in Sweden is because they said the banks are not accepting cash deposits. All right, they're stopping cash deposits. They're printing less money. Okay, so people are spending less cash. Okay, they're basically making the numbers look good, and they're making it as to where other companies as well, these little retailers, are basically not accepting cash payments no more, but are moving towards card payments. Okay, so Sweden is the model right now. So this is happening with now. This happened with the terrorism on that side. They even said there was a chemical attack in London as well, man. Okay, I believe it was in London, somewhere in the UK. So they're basically putting a full court press, putting a full court press, putting a full court press on the New World Order. Okay, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Okay, so we gotta hold fast to this word, and that's why it says measure the time diligently, man. So what is our measuring stick? The word, man. The prophecies in the Bible.